My new book, Pillars for Life, A Guide to Spiritual Ethics and Practice, is now out and available for you to read and purchase. You can check out our website, willowhealing.org, to find a link, or you can find it on Amazon. We look forward to getting your feedback, and if you love it, please leave a review and share with your friends. Now it's time for the show. Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Hey everyone, it's Catherine Crestani with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I am joined by the beautiful Angel Cao. She is the founder of Angelign, a consultancy that weaves classical Feng Shui, traditional Chinese wisdom, and contemporary spatial design to create environments that heal, empower, and align. With formal training in design, a lineage of Chinese traditional medicine and Taoist philosophy, and a honed sensitivity to the spirit of place, Angel's practice bridges energy, environment, and personal transformation. Her mission is to create holistic systems of self-discovery and well-being, centering humanity's spirituality and our relationship to the spaces we inhabit. Angelign's offerings include Feng Shui consultations, Bazi readings, geomantic land assessments, space clearing, and immersive sound healing. Each experience with Angelign is bespoke and high-touch, spirituality attuned to the unique energy of every client and space. So a big welcome to the show, Angel.
Thank you so much for having me today.
And I want to, first of all, thank you for persevering through our technology issues. But secondly, I'm going to ask the same question again, which was, what inspired you to actually follow design, like growing up with traditional Chinese medicine around you? Natural thing would be, oh, maybe I'm going to go down that path. But obviously you took a slightly different one.
Yes, I did. I do feel like that traditional Chinese medicine backing and understanding from my youth has definitely played a really big role in the career that I have at the moment. So since I was very, very young, I've always been immersed in this world of just living with the seasons and living seasonally, to this like really empowered, holistic approach to living our lives. So Chinese medicine is a lot about making your body really strong so that disease doesn't come in. And I think I've always had that sense within me of I can make something really good, or I can make my environment really strong and good, so my life can be very strong and very abundant. And so that was my background, but I guess I never really thought about going into Chinese medicine. It's definitely more of a philosophy that I live life by, more so than something that I thought would be an actual career or a profession for me. As I grew up, I've always had this really immense interest in the built environment, like the built world and the spaces that we occupy. So as I entered into, furthering my studies in university, I ended up studying interior design. And so with that, I was always so fascinated about the psychology of space, or a very famous maxim that we say in interior design is that form follows function. So the functionality of the space is dictated by the form. So that could either be in terms of like physically, where you position certain things so that we move in a different way, or even psychologically, how our spaces affect our lived experience. So I think I was always really interested in that really human-centered approach to design. And in university, we ended up having a class about Aboriginal design. Within Australia, we were really cognizant, or the course curriculum was quite aware of not just having Eurocentric design. So there was this additional class that we all took about Aboriginal design, and it really allowed me to question, like, that's so interesting. It's such a different philosophy on how we create and how we live life. And I did know that China, my own cultural background, we have a really strong design culture as well of Feng Shui, and it's very well known, although maybe a bit mysticized, so not too many people know too much about it. So I thought I would really like to learn this. And so it kind of brought me into this rabbit hole of Feng Shui design, and Feng Shui is definitely a lot more spiritual than modern architecture and interior design. It's a lot more human-centered, and I definitely feel like that's also attributed in part to, I remember I did some volunteer work. Way back in the day, I went to India to create human-centered design solutions for rural communities. And it really taught me this idea of working with the local environment, with the local sensitivities of the people to create something that really benefits them and really nurtures them and really allows, like, amplifies their life so they have a more abundant, more fruitful life, which is, of course, what Feng Shui is always trying to do. So I think all of those little points in my life have really kind of pushed me into the path that I am here today in.
Which is such a beautiful evolvement of how
Mm.
that's all entwined together in your life. And I feel to ask because, you've got that spiritual element as well. Do you use the Feng Shui compass, or do you just find you intuitively know kind of where things are now? And how's that evolved for you?
That's a really good question. So there are a few different schools of feng shui, and the one that I practice is classical feng shui. So there is actually a school of feng shui called Compass School Feng Shui. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
funny that you brought that up. We also have form school, and then I also use eight matchings and flying stars. So when I do look at the feng shui of a place, it is based on a few different factors. It can be based on, like, just seeing and surveying the land. So the external environment, are you close to water? Are you close to the mountains? That creates a really different lifestyle. A really big part of it, although, is still the compass. I think feng shui, it is very spiritual and it can be very intuitive, but we do have that quite analytical part of it as well, where we get the compass and we stand there at your door. If I ever come to your house, you'll see me with my really big compass, and I'll move it so that we can see the alignment of the sun with the home, because that dictates a really dominant energy pattern within the space. So from that, we do calculations, although when we're in the space, I always know that in any profession, I believe, you have good, better, and best. The most ideal situation, if you didn't have the constraints of your environment, maybe it would be like a certain cure or a certain suggestion. But because you have a wall here, and because, or you have an extra room because you have children, you need to kind of adapt that. So that's definitely, there's that artistic side and there's that more scientific side to feng shui as well. So a good balance of both, I think.
Yeah. And so when you have multiple people living in the house, does it get really tricky to balance the energy? Because obviously, like, each person has their own kind of energies that they're bringing in, depending on, their backgrounds of astrology and everything else that comes from that.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. With I find it so fascinating with multiple people in a home. I think maybe it's because it's what I naturally gravitate towards. I'm like, this is so exciting, but I'm sure it would be kind of very, very confusing. I think it's a good mental challenge. With feng shui, we also do like a personal energy reading. So personally for you, there's a really good place for you to sit to feel supported. It's like facing a particular direction. So it's a combination of all those things. Although I do believe that in the environment, like the whole macro environment, it applies to everyone. And then it's those micro adjustments, like the lifestyles, that we're really tweaking within the home. Because you and I might be in the same space, but we have a completely different experience. We're going to sit at different parts of the dinner table. We're going to be sleeping in different rooms, and those rooms are going to look very different. So it is something that I think it's just a really fun thought experiment when it does come up. But I do believe that somehow, in some way, like the universal energy, it flows throughout all things very well, like very abundantly. So I'm always very trusting in that there will be a very good and harmonious energy pattern that I can create here that's beneficial for everyone.
That's such a beautiful way to look at it because, and in the end, I guess you're a family, so you've already adjusted to each other's energies at some point.
Yes.
So even if it's just a little bit. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
still under the same roof and you're not fighting every day, it can be a positive sign that you're doing something right.
And I think even like consciously or unconsciously, you've chosen this environment. Even if, your husband bought the property, you still allowed yourself to be in the relationship and allowed yourself to be in the home. So it does still represent you in very similar ways. So yeah, I think it is that like heart-led decision to even be in that space that has those similarities between all the members of the home.
Yeah, I love it so much. And my other thing that was popping out when I was reading your bio is what is geomantic land assessment? I'm assuming that links into what's going on with the land, but what does that actually mean?
Yeah, that is a very good question as well. So, as you can probably tell, I've got quite a few different modalities that I've listed out for you. Geomatic land assessment. You can also call it geomancy, and it's like essentially it's like divination of the land. However, I use it more as a technical approach. A lot of the times we have these environmental factors and influences that influence our quality of life. So we have like the the magnetic pulses underneath the earth. And if we can live in alignment with that, then we'll be healthy. We also have things like ley lines. So there are these energy lines underneath the earth, and knowing where they are, or sometimes certain lines, they get disrupted or polluted, and it causes things like sorry, I'm stumbling
An
over my
imbalance.
words today.
That's okay. I understand.
I think I need a glass of water, but I'll go slower and I'm sure we'll be fine. So with geomancy, it can result in things like not being able to sleep properly, having chronic health problems that keep popping up, having like a really weak immune system, and you've tried everything and you don't know why. It can manifest as a lot of wild animals coming onto your property because they feel the stress in the land. It can also be like your pets are getting sick or they're getting very erratic and you don't know why. And also plants not growing the way that they should. I actually did a geomancy consultation 2 weeks ago. And really prominent sign of geomantic stress is plants in a corkscrew pattern. And I saw that on the side of the property, and she was having really just not very consistent sleep. So I thought, oh, this is such a geomancy problem. Let me come in and let me find out what's going on. And we go there with a lot of tools. We call it acupuncture of the earth. So we're bringing in all of our little trinkets and bits and bobs and healing tools, and we're bringing them into the earth to realign the energy of the earth so you can be healthy and happy when you live on top of it.
That's amazing. So I know exactly what you're talking about because we had a broken ley line on our blocks, like in our land. And I did it my way to heal it. So my husband, he does Reiki. So he put like the energy into the tree, like the main tree that was kind of broken. And then I moved the energy along because that tree had to leave, like the spirit had to leave to move it on. But you could look in like in the line sight and you could see all the trees along that ley line were twisted, every single one, and dead.
Yeah.
And dead. And it was just like you couldn't even make it up. It was just like, oh my God, you could see it so clearly. And I feel a lot of people don't realize that ley lines are so impactful on our energy because they carry so much energy themselves. And I had another client and she had all these things happening in her house. And I said, she was seeing a colleague of mine, and I said to her, it's the house. And she goes, I feel it too. It's the house. And she went there and just intuitively, she's like, there is some big convergence here. Like it was not okay. And even the house was trying to get them out. Like the dishwasher exploded. There was floods. Like there was so many things. And they're like, okay, maybe we need to move. And we're like, yes, you need to move. That's the extreme. But,
Yeah.
or you can call someone like Angel.
You can. Angel might tell you to move as well. There are some homes that when people do come for pre-appraisal, pre-purchase appraisal, sometimes it's like the energy of the house really isn't the best. I wouldn't choose this one. So it's really interesting, the really profound effect of the environment on us.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually love that you do that for people too. It's like I'd consider something else, and for people who aren't intuitive and can't feel the energy of the space, someone like you, Angel, would be really great and save them a lot of heartache from buying this home that they think would be a home and then end up with health problems and disrupted sleep and everything else, like you said. Or sometimes it's just the energy of the land too, right? Like if there's been a lot of I'm trying to think of the word. It's like untoward actions happen on the land. The land's really unhappy about it, and then it doesn't want people there as well. I've worked with a lot of clients too. Where there was spirits stuck or land spirits weren't happy because they weren't honored properly or something wasn't done that honored the land in that way that they wanted to be honored, and then it causes this massive disruption as well.
Yes, I think living in alignment with the land and with the universe, it's so important as well. With that, with the spirits that occupy a property, a lot of the time, like a space clearing, which is what I'm guessing you would have done, would be the most appropriate solution. It's giving them a chance to find a way back home. So in the space clearings, if that's something that I encounter, it is about just showing them that there's a path to ascend. Because sometimes these spirits, either they're attached or they get lost. It's not necessarily something to be afraid of. I think when we are afraid, our own frequency drops a lot, and that can be quite dangerous as a spiritual practitioner as well. So there are a lot of intersecting skills that I think you need in order to do the work that we do, and in order to I guess everyone who has a home knows, like, it's a lot of maintenance to keep a home feeling homey, and the more we live in it, like, the softer it becomes, and I think Feng Shui is kind of just a bigger part of the circle.
100%. And I love how you frame that too. It's like, the more you live in it, the softer the more it becomes home, because you do those touches to energetically make it feel more aligned with you, whether you realize you're doing it or not.
Absolutely, yes.
So my next question, only because I kind of know what it is. What's a Bazi reading? I feel like I know what it is.
What, do you wanna have a go at it?
Oh, you want to give one to me? I don't care. I'm open.
I mean, do you wanna have a go at answering the question about what it is?
That's why I'm asking you.
Bazi reading is Chinese astrology, essentially. So
Okay, great.
in
I was
Chinese,
right.
yes, it's called Bazi, or Four Pillars of Destiny if you change it over into English, but both of them, all three of them, you can use simultaneously. So that is more about understanding your own energy and your own energetic blueprint. So a lot of the times we have our own fundamental element. So in Chinese astrology, we look at the 5 elements of nature, and we all relate to one of these elements. And then it's all about, how do we live a life that strengthens who we are intrinsically? So for someone who might be a water element, like, you'll find a lot of solace being by bodies of water, or being in deep introspection, or doing these more water-centered activities, which in a reading I'll go super in depth with you about. So it is things like those. It's understanding your own energy and then knowing how to harness it, and knowing how to, like, amplify your strengths and also protect yourself in the places that you're a bit weaker. In the Bazi readings, there's so many different aspects and levels that you can see yourself in. So one sense, it is your personal timing in this period of your life. What would you be going through? Other times it is, what are the most supportive colors for you and the most supportive clothing silhouettes, and kind of having like a physical transformation. At other times, it can also be like the best foods to eat and the best medicinal or healthcare practices that you can do to keep yourself feeling healthy and strong. There's so many different ways that understanding your energy is very beneficial for you. So yeah, I think it's, how many ways can you skin a cat? There are many different ways to interpret a parts of the reading, and then to have one for yourself that really benefits you and that becomes very valuable in your life.
And I want to emphasize too, for people listening, because you have a water astrology sign in the other astrology doesn't mean you are the water element. So I am, yes. Angel's like, thank you. For example, I'm Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon. So that's a water sign, but my chart is full of fire, so
Oh,
yeah. And so it's really interesting when you get that contrast. And it took me a minute just to catch up to that when I was having a reading done with a friend. And it was like, oh, I'm like, okay, actually, no, I'm fire. And he's like, yeah, you should be rolling in money. And I'm like, but I'm not. And he goes, yeah, what is that? Let's look at that.
yeah, absolutely. Money is a big one that you can also look at in the chart.
Yeah.
My teacher, he does Chinese astrology and Western astrology together. They almost both say the same stories, at least the case studies that he has. So I do feel like you can come in with your understanding of Western astrology, and you will find things in the Chinese astrology, because we have different modalities, and Chinese medicine is different to Western medicine. So how we heal the body for a water person, it will be very different to, the Western systems of medicine that will, for a fire person, I guess, in Western astrology, they will be different. I think that there is that distinction. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. Only because I'm like, people will be there going, oh, so I must be the water element. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Exactly. Not quite. Awesome. I love that you have just ventured down all these different little modalities to strengthen your overall practice. So then when you work with homes and work with spaces, that you have all these different things you can bring in, right? Because especially the elements play such a part in the home as well. I remember, not that I do Feng Shui or anything, but I had a friend and she was buying this house and she's like, can you tune in the energy and see what you pick up? She goes, I just want to make sure I have that discernment. I was like, okay. And I said, look, there's nothing here you can't clear, like, because she was quite good with working the land. I said, but you really need to balance the wood element because the whole house was made of wood, like there was wood panels everywhere and it was very heavy, because there was just so much wood. And she goes, yeah, she goes, I know I need to bring in X, Y, and Z. I said, perfect. So it's really interesting seeing how those elements from the outside can actually interweave into our home as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's that system of what feng shui even is. It's that really big macro environment of like all of Australia, and then you go, and then New Zealand has its own energetic signature, the home has its own energy, and then we have our own energy. And it's finding how the energy of that kind of flows into each other and not allowing it to stagnate at any point.
Yeah. And the other question that just popped in my head is, are you able to do readings online if you can't get to a person's home? Or do you ideally it'd be nice for you to be able to go to their home, but if you can't, can you still do them online?
Yeah, absolutely. I can, yeah, as you were saying, it's always really good to be in person because you can feel the energy, and it definitely is my preference. But now with modern day technology, it'll probably include a few photos from you and me going on to the satellite mapping and to map everything out. And absolutely, we can definitely do something online.
Which is very cool. Like I have to say, it's nice that you can evolve that way too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like, look, Google did all the work for me. Thank you,
Yes.
Google. I don't have to sit here with my topography map.
The wonders of modern day technology. Even,
It's
astrology. I think the only one that you can't really do is geomancy and maybe space clearing. I haven't found a way to do space clearing online yet, but I'll let you know if it ever pops up.
I feel, yeah, space clearing is interesting because normally when I tune in, if people are like, "Hey, can you see what's going on with my house?" It would say like you have to, and I will guide the person to go to have to do something, but it's the person's always it's within their capabilities to do it, right? Whereas if it was someone that was just, it's kind of spiritually in tune but not aware of how to do those things, I feel it would be really hard because, like you said, some things you do have to be there. Although I wonder if you could astral project there.
I
Maybe.
think maybe that's a possibility.
Yeah,
By the
exactly.
time that this episode comes out, I'll be there.
Okay. I'm going to leave that one for you, Angel, to go
Thank
explore.
you.
And as we start to finish our time together, I asked the guests to come on the show, if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
Oh, that is such a good question. I feel like I did remember you asking previous guests this, and then I thought, oh, I hope she doesn't ask me that. That's so that's so hard. To heal or change something in the world. I really feel like, and through the mission of my work, it's always been to empower people to feel like they have the agency to be able to change their lives. I think maybe in the modern world, it's really easy to, or in any world really, to see ourselves as a victim of circumstance, or that we need a spiritual healer to come and draw us out of our life that we currently live. But I think, and definitely what I try to bring forth to my own practice, is giving people the skills and allowing them the understanding and giving them the right. Feng Shui is all about the physical systems, like the home as a physical system, giving them that structure so that they have the power and the agency to change their lives. I think it's this idea of self-empowerment as a collective that I would really like to hopefully bring into the world through the work that I do, and also as an aspirational wish. I think that's what I'd really like.
I think that's beautiful. Amazing. And if people want to come and work with you, Angel, or learn more about you, how can they connect with you?
Yes, so my website name is www.angelign, angelign.com. So you're welcome to find me there. If you just want to go into the contact page and send me a message about what you'd like, or I'll have discovery calls that you're very welcome to come and give me a call on, and we'll figure out the right set of modalities for you. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram. So it's FENGSHUI WITHANGELIGN, a bit of a long handle, but on that one, you just get, connected with me. And also, if you would like to be even more connected, you're always welcome to sign up to the newsletter. I do a few exclusive events for newsletter sign-ups, so you're very welcome to go through that. But yeah, I think those are the main ways to get in contact with me.
Amazing. And I'll make sure to put them all in the show notes so people can find them easily. And if someone's driving, please don't be writing that down. We will have it in the show notes. You can click on them after, I promise. So thank you so much for being on here, Angel. It's been an absolute delight learning from you and just seeing how you're changing one space at a time.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I've loved this conversation so much. So thank you so much for facilitating it.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.